These are the best marathons to qualify for Boston in 2025. So, it's almost 2025. Marathon season is coming up and you have to pick out what marathons you're gonna run. So I developed a list that I think are the 13 best marathons that you can run to try to give yourself a chance to Boston qualify. So in this video, we're gonna go over the start time, if it's a point to point, what the marathon is, obviously the date, price, if there's a 5K, 10K, relay, half marathon option, because some people travel with other people and they wanna, my wife does the half while I do the full, and also the weather. I've done all this research. If you enjoyed it, you learned something, just give it a like. That's all I ask. Oh, and by the way, all these marathons are going to be in chronological order, starting off in January. First one is the Houston Marathon. Starts at 7 a.m. in the morning. It is a looped flat course. Last year, 16.9% Boston qualified out of all the participants. It's around 7,500 runners, and the average weather for this race day is 52 degrees, kind of like a 62 to 41 range. They also have a half marathon and a 5K option. Next marathon on the list is the Mesa Marathon. This marathon is held February 8th of 2025. It is a 6:30 a.m. start. It is a point to point, so you're gonna have to get shuttled out to the start line. The reason why people love this marathon for Boston is that it has I think over 800 or 900 feet of elevation descent. There's only about 2,500 runners that do this race. Temperatures range anywhere from 73 to 45 degrees with an average of 59. Currently, the price is $179 up until January 6th. There is also a half marathon and a 10K option for those who are interested. The next marathon on the list is the Ventura Marathon out in California. It's also like a 2-for-1 kind of thing on my list because the Mountains to Beach is pretty much the exact same course as this, but the Mountains to Beach is April 13th. Both these races, like I said, are very similar. They both have 900 feet of descent. They average around 26% of the participants Boston qualified. You will have to run a point to point. There's only about 1,000 runners that do it every year. Temperatures range anywhere from 66 to 45 degrees with an average of 56. Currently, the price for the Ventura Marathon is $171. They do have a half marathon option. Also, it looks like the Ventura Marathon is going to give out Tailwind if you love Tailwind. All right, the next marathon on the list is the Glass City Marathon. It's in Toledo, Ohio. So I think it's one of the first ones kind of like on the east coast of the side. The race is April 27th, 6:30 a.m. start time. It's a very flat course. 16% of participants last year Boston qualified. It is looped, so you don't have to wake up super early in the morning. There's only around 1.4K runners. They do have pacers. They also do have pacers for the half marathon. There is a 5K option as well, and I think a relay. I think this is the cheapest marathon on the list currently. Is $95. Weather is 62 to 41 degrees with an average of 53 on race day. So yeah, that is the Toledo Glass City Marathon. The next marathon on the list is very controversial. Some people don't believe that these races should let you Boston qualify, but it is what it is, and people are just going to take advantage of it as they can. The next one is the Mount Charleston Revel Marathon. It's April 5th. It's in Nevada. So you start out on a mountain at 7,000 feet elevation and you end up at 2,000 feet elevation. So you do lose a 5,000 feet of descent. There's a point to point. It's a 6 a.m. start. The reason why people go and do this race is 41% of people that ran it last year Boston qualified. So on this Find My Marathon app, it literally is ranked second on best marathons to run in order to Boston qualify. There's only around 1,700 participants that end up running this race. Temperatures range anywhere from 75 degrees to 53 with an average of 64. But I will say, I think it's every 1,000 feet of elevation you go up, probably should take 2 degrees Fahrenheit. So if it's at the very bottom of the course, so to speak, if it's 60, then it's probably gonna be 50 or 45, up at the top. So just something to kind of understand. This one is currently $165, but to get to the start line, you have to buy a bus ticket unless you want to Uber. And I don't know if Ubers are gonna be that early, but you could take a chance. Is a $49 bus ticket. They do also have a half marathon option as well. The next marathon on the list is the Eugene Marathon. It is April 27th of 2025. It is a 7 a.m. start time. 26% of runners that ran this last year Boston qualified. It is a looped course, so you don't have to wake up super early and get on a bus. There's only around 3,000 runners that do the marathon. I don't know, I thought Eugene was bigger than that. Temperatures range anywhere from 64 to 41 with an average of 53, so really good weather. Currently $150. They also have a half marathon and a 5K option for this race. The next marathon on the list is pretty scenic, it looks like, judging by the video. It is the Ogden Marathon. It's up in Utah. It is May 17th. It's a 7 a.m. start time. It was actually voted by Runner's World as one of the 10 best marathons to run. It is a negative 1,000 feet of descent. 10% of participants Boston qualified with this race. It is a point-to-point. 1.3K runners typically run this race every year. Temperatures range from 71 to 45 with an average of 58. Price currently, if you buy it today, is $120. They have a half marathon, a relay, an 8-mile, and a 5K included in the weekend. All right, number 8 on the list are the tunnel marathons. Technically 3 marathons, but they're all the same course for the most part. They happen to fall on June 8th, August 10th, and September 14th. They all have pretty much the same course. One of the fastest because you lose over 2,000 feet of elevation. They're all point to points. They all have around 800 runners. Average temperatures are around 63 degrees on race day. They're typically like $160. They do have a half marathon option as well. The June 8th and August 10th start at 7 a.m., but I think you could pay like $5 or $10 and join in at like 6 a.m. if you really wanted to. And for the September one, the start time is a little later in the day. It's at 8 a.m., but I think you can buy a 7 a.m. option for that one as well. The next marathon on the list, number 9, is the Grandma's Marathon. Grandma's Marathon falls on June 21st at 7:45. I think is when the elites go off, and then like they kind of stagger it for everybody else. 16.4% of runners ended up Boston qualifying with this race. It's flat, it's a point to point. It's around 7,500 runners. Temperatures range anywhere from 72 to 49 degrees, being 61 the average. This race actually is already sold out. So if you go and try to sign up, literally you can't because it is sold out. The only way that you can go and sign up for this race is with charities. On screen are all the charities that you can do. They typically range anywhere from $400 to $800, the money that you have to raise. They do have a half marathon and a 5K option. I believe the half marathon is the same, there's no more entries available, and you gotta raise money if you want to run this race. So that is the Grandma's Marathon. Something that I forgot to mention about Grandma's is that it actually is the last marathon on this list that I created that would qualify you for 2026. The rest of these on the list are going to be for 2027 because of the way that Boston does its eligibility period. It ends like September something. Like I think it's like September the 10th. Like you have to do all the races before September 10th for that following year. Also, I don't know if you haven't noticed, I haven't listed any majors just because it's so hard to get into the majors. I felt like it was just a given. Like Chicago's a great course to run. Half of the people that run Boston every year, Boston qualify at Boston. And I think Berlin is really flat. All these are just races that you can typically just sign up yourself. So now let's get into the marathons that can qualify you for 2027, even though it's so far away. The first one on the list is going to be the Steamtown Marathon. It's in Scranton, Pennsylvania. It is October the 12th, probably going to be the same day as Chicago. So if you get into the Chicago lottery, obviously cannot do this one. This one starts at 8 a.m. It is a negative 900 feet of descent. 18% of runners that ran this in 2024 Boston qualified. It is a point-to-point. There are around 900 runners. Weather is 64 to 43 with an average being 53 on race day. It's around $125 right now. It does not look like they have like a 5K or a half marathon option. So next marathon on the list is St. George. It is actually October 4th. It's at 7 a.m. start time, around 3,000 feet of elevation descent. 8.2% of runners ran it last year. Boston qualified. They have around 4,000 runners. Temperatures are anywhere from 70 to 37 degrees. Registration for this race opens April the 1st. I think it's around $130. Looks like there's a 5K option. So yeah, buses start at 3:30 a.m. and the last one is at 5:15. Gel will be Huma Gels on the course. Pretty good marathon if you're interested. It's up in Utah. The next marathon on the list is the Indianapolis Marathon. It's November 8th this year. I think it's typically in like the late October. 18% of runners that ran it in 2024 Boston qualified. It's flat, it's looped, it's in the city. There's around 5,700 runners that run it. Temperatures are anywhere from 58 to 39, with a average temperature on race day being 48. Prime weather. The price is around 150 to 175. They have a half marathon and a 5K option as well. All right, last marathon on the list is the CIM Marathon, California International Marathon. It's December 7th. It is a 7 a.m. start time. 31% of people end up Boston qualifying for this race that ran in 2024. It is negative 900 feet of descent. There are a little hills, which some people talked about 2 years ago, how they kind of snuck up on you. They're around 8 to 10 miles, 8 to 10. It is a point to point, so you do have to get up early to get out to the buses and whatnot. Around 9,000 runners run this race. Temperatures are anywhere from 56 to 38 degrees with an average of 47. This one is the priciest marathon on the list. It is at $180. They have 3 different entries. The cheapest one, which is like an unprotected entry, it always sells out very first. And then you have to go to the $200 and the $230 one. And I'm pretty sure the prices will increase, I think. If you want like a little bit more protection with your race, then you'd have to like buy that one, or buy the more expensive worry-free standard entry. This one every 4 years is a very big one because it's the last marathon to OTQ. If you're that fast, you probably already know that. A good race, very fast crowd of people. So yeah, that's all I have. These are the best marathons that I could come up with on my own based off of percentage Boston qualifying, the weather, price, 5K options. I genuinely wish you the best of luck. I'm trying to get to Boston as well. I'm actually running one of these marathons on this list. You can comment and try to guess. I will begin training soon, and hopefully everybody can make it to Boston as they want to. If you like this video, share and give it a comment. I'd really appreciate it. That's all I got.